Stop scrolling. Because what happened at Mingyu's concert was never on the schedule. Jungkook appeared, not as a rumor, not as a blurry shadow, but physically there, standing inside Mingyu's concert, and the internet was absolutely not ready. Welcome back to Jikook Lover. Before we continue, hit like, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe now, because this moment is already dividing fans worldwide. Why was Jungkook there? Why did this feel more personal than a casual visit? And why did one tiny, almost invisible detail leave the fandom completely shaken? Watch until the end, because after this, you may never see this moment the same way again. Jungkook and Mingyu together at this concert? The internet wasn't ready. There was no official announcement, no press release, no hint from schedules or insiders. And yet, within minutes, a single unexpected moment at Mingyu's concert exploded across the internet, crossing languages, time zones, and fandom borders at lightning speed. It started quietly. One fan video, shaky footage, low lighting, a figure standing off to the side, dressed simply, not trying to be seen, but not hiding either. And then realization spread like electricity. That was Jungkook, not on a screen, not through a video message, but right there, present at Mingyu's concert. From that second on, the internet stopped breathing. Social media fractured instantly. Some fans screamed in excitement. Others froze in disbelief. Some rushed to deny it, while many asked the same quiet but powerful question, why? Why Jungkook? Why this concert? Why now? What made this moment hit harder than most celebrity concert appearances wasn't just the surprise. It was how Jungkook existed in that space. He didn't demand attention. He didn't seek the spotlight. He stood calmly, observing, clapping softly, reacting like someone enjoying something personal rather than attending a public spectacle. Fans noticed everything. They noticed where he stood. They noticed his distance from staff. They noticed his expression during specific songs. They noticed what wasn't shown on the big screen. Then came the second wave of videos. Different angles, different moments. And suddenly, fans began connecting dots that no official camera ever intended to capture. One moment, in particular, ignited the fire. As the stage lights dimmed, Mingyu moved slightly toward the side of the stage. No wave, no obvious interaction. But there was a pause, a glance, a fraction of a second that felt strangely deliberate. Too subtle to be proof, too intentional to be ignored. Some fans dismissed it as coincidence. Others called it a nothing moment. But many insisted it was exactly the opposite. A moment so quiet that it only made sense to those paying attention. And just like that, the narrative changed. This was no longer simply about Jungkook attending a friend's concert. This was about energy, about presence, about something that felt unspoken. Online discussions exploded. Fans from different fandoms clashed gently, then fiercely. Some praised the beauty of idols supporting each other without cameras involved. Others questioned why this appearance felt so different from similar situations in the past. What made it unsettling wasn't what happened, but what didn't. No official photos, no Instagram stories, no casual mentions afterward, just silence. And silence, in the world of fandom, is never empty. People began revisiting old moments, past interactions, missed glances, rare overlaps, patterns that were never confirmed, yet never fully disappeared either. Was this coincidence? Was it comfort? Was it support? Or was it something fans were never meant to analyze so closely? Even neutral viewers admitted one thing. This moment felt unusually intimate for something so public. Not romantic, not dramatic, just different. As the concert ended and fans went home, the night should have closed quietly. But instead, hashtags climbed, threads multiplied, fan theories branched into dozens of interpretations, none fully provable, none easily dismissed. Because when something feels intentional without explanation, people search for meaning. The longer the silence lasted, the louder the interpretations became. In the hours after the concert, something unusual happened across fan spaces. Instead of explosive celebrations or aggressive shipping wars, there was hesitation. Fans spoke more carefully. Words like observe, notice, and feel appeared more often than prove or confirm. It was as if everyone instinctively understood that this moment carried weight, even if no one could explain exactly why. Clips slowed down. Screenshots were brightened. People examined body language not to claim ownership of a narrative, but to understand the mood of the night. Jungkook's posture appeared relaxed, almost grounded. Not the guarded stillness of someone avoiding attention, but the ease of someone who felt safe being unseen. That detail alone unsettled many, because Jungkook, by nature of his fame, is rarely allowed that kind of quiet presence in public spaces. And yet here he was, in a concert hall not his own, blending into the shadows without urgency to disappear. Fans began asking a subtler question. Not why did he go, but how did he feel comfortable enough to stay? Another wave of discussion emerged when fans noticed what songs were being performed during the moments Jungkook was spotted. Certain lyrics, stripped of context, suddenly felt heavier. Lines about youth, loyalty, distance, and timing took on new meanings simply because of who was listening in the crowd. Was that projection? Possibly. Was it inevitable? Absolutely. Because fandom doesn't exist in isolation. It breathes through emotion, memory, and shared history. As international fans woke up to the news, the conversation expanded. Western media accounts reposted clips with neutral captions, while fan-run platforms framed the moment more delicately, choosing words like unexpected, quiet, and unplanned. Even the language shifted depending on culture, revealing how differently this appearance was being processed around the world. Some fans expressed relief. Seeing Jungkook supporting Mingyu publicly, yet quietly, felt reassuring. A reminder that behind the polished performances and strategic schedules, real relationships still exist. Others admitted discomfort, not because the moment was inappropriate, but because it felt too real for something captured by accident. Reality, when it slips past control, tends to unsettle people. The lack of follow-up only intensified that feeling. No backstage photo surfaced. No, thank you for coming post appeared. Mingyu did not mention Jungkook during the concert or after. Jungkook himself remained completely silent. In an industry where even casual interactions are often documented, this absence felt deliberate. And deliberation invites speculation. Some fans theorized that the appearance was last-minute, spontaneous, unfiltered by management. Others suggested the opposite, that its quiet nature meant it was carefully considered, precisely because of how much attention it would draw if acknowledged. Two opposing ideas, both impossible to confirm, coexisting uncomfortably in the same space. Then came the comparisons. Fans began recalling other concerts, other surprise appearances by idols supporting friends. Most of those moments were loud, joyful, openly acknowledged. This one wasn't, and that contrast kept pulling people back into the discussion. Why this silence? Why this restraint? Theories grew more psychological than factual. Some suggested Jungkook's presence wasn't about visibility at all, but about proximity, being close without performing closeness. About choosing to witness rather than participate. That interpretation resonated deeply with fans who had followed both artists for years. Because if there's one thing longtime fans understand, it's that the most meaningful moments are often the ones that aren't staged. As debates continued, another shift occurred. The narrative stopped focusing solely on Jungkook. Mingyu became central again, not as the host of the concert, but as the silent counterpart in this shared moment. Fans rewatched Mingyu's performance with new eyes. His energy, his pacing, his brief pauses between songs. Some insisted nothing was different. Others claimed there was a softness, a steadiness that felt amplified. Once again, interpretations split the fandom. And yet, beneath the disagreements, there was a strange sense of collective attention. People weren't fighting to win an argument. They were trying to understand something they felt, but couldn't articulate. That's when a particular comment began circulating widely. This didn't feel like a reveal. It felt like a reminder that idols exist beyond narratives, beyond expectations, beyond the stories fans build around them. And perhaps that was the most unsettling part of all. Because if this moment wasn't meant to be decoded, then why did it resonate so deeply? As days passed, the intensity didn't fade, it evolved. New fans discovered the clips late and brought fresh perspectives. Veteran fans urged caution, reminding others not to assign meanings that could burden the artists. Still, the feeling lingered. Something had shifted, not dramatically, Not visibly, but subtly. The internet thrives on loud moments, scandals, confirmations, statements. But this story resisted that structure. It refused to climax. It hovered, unresolved, living in the space between what was seen and what was felt. And unresolved stories are the hardest to let go of. Some fans eventually asked the question out loud: what if this moment wasn't meant for us at all? What if we were simply witnesses to something private that slipped briefly into public view? That idea divided opinions sharply. Some rejected it, arguing that anything happening on a public stage is fair ground for discussion. Others agreed, expressing discomfort at how intensely the moment was being analyzed. Both sides had a point, and neither could fully explain why this particular appearance carried more emotional weight than dozens of others before it. Perhaps the answer lies not in what happened at the concert, but in the timing. In an era where idols are constantly visible, constantly communicating, constantly curated, an unspoken appearance feels radical. It disrupts the rhythm fans have grown used to. It creates space for imagination, and imagination is powerful. Too powerful, sometimes. Yet even those urging restraint admitted one thing: this moment would be remembered. Not as a headline, not as a scandal, but as a quiet fracture in the usual narrative. And now, as fans continue to revisit those few seconds of footage, the debate has shifted once more, away from proof, away from denial, towards something more uncertain. Meaning, because whether fans believe this moment was coincidence, comfort, or something deeper, it has already done something irreversible. It made people feel, and in a world oversaturated with content, feeling something unexpected is rare.